How to buy land that is not for sale. So welcome back. Now I'm Ted Thomas, and I've been involved in a subset of the traditional real estate business for over 30 years. Now today's episode, I'm going to discuss your question, how to buy land that is not for sale. So let me start off by saying I usually don't try to buy things unless the people have them for sale. In other words, I'll give you a little insight. If people aren't motivated to sell you something, you're probably going to have a tough time in buying it. I'm not saying that we're not going to answer the question. I can give you ways that you can try to find these properties that are not for sale. So I'll give you the research part of it. The key to this business in the future is going to be research. Whoever can do research is going to be the best buyer at tax defaulted auctions. So I've been involved in a subset of the traditional real estate business for over 30 years. Now, what is a subset of the real estate? Real estate normally is homes. It's going to be vacant residential lots. It's going to be small apartments. It's going to be small office buildings. It might even be some small acreages of land. But that's a traditional business, and there's hundreds of brokers. There's appraisers. There's title companies. There's people to do fix-up on it. So a lot of people are involved in that business. But the business I'm involved with, there's a lot less people. However, it's outrageously profitable. And what is it? It's a subset of the regular business, and that's called tax defaulted real estate. All right, now people that are going to buy land, which is what we're going to talk about right now, they want what they want. And I completely understand that. You want to buy just what you want. But I don't know that that's going to be available. But the one thing about land, it's really available. Now, I like to do it in the tax defaulted arena because I know from going to auction, my experience has taught me about 20, maybe even 25% of all properties at auction are actually land of some kind. It could be residential vacant lots. It could be some large acreage. It could be something with fruit trees on it. It could be agricultural land. But there's going to be land on these auctions. And I like to do business in the subset of the real estate business called tax defaulted property because I'm going to buy for 10, 20, 30 cents on the dollar. So let's see if I can help you with the question of the day, is how to buy land that is not for sale. All right, so first of all, don't narrow your choices down. You know, you're going to narrow down a precious piece that you want, but if it's not for sale, what are you going to do? Well, you know, you can look, but if the person doesn't want to sell their land, they're not going to sell it. So I'm serious when I tell you this is a business of abundance. There's so much land in the United States, you'll be able to find what you want. You're just going to have to learn how to research property. So how are you going to do that? Well, you can come to some of our classes. We have classes all week long about how to research. But the point is, I'm telling you, don't get yourself disappointed that you just want this piece of land because it's on a lake or it's got a certain road to it or it has a certain view, because the people don't want to sell it, they don't want to sell it. But you can find land in many, many ways. So my point is, there's abundance when it comes to land. So why did you start with just the basics? What are the attributes that you're looking for? What do you really want in this land? And if it's a view, then think about that. If it's water, then think about that. But you're going to have to think about the land, because does the land already have water to the land? If there's no water, you're not going to be able to use that land very well. All right, does the land have electrical power coming to the land? All right, these attributes are going to be very important. Is it on a road that's a year-round road? In other words, a paved road, not a dirt road. All right, so you have to think about these things before you even start searching. So now, once you start searching, then you're going to have to say, when you get out of your car and you look, well, the land just goes as far as the eye will let it go. But the point is, you're probably going to have to get a survey. So you don't want to buy a piece of land without already having a survey. So land is a little bit more complex, at least it is for me, a little bit more complex than buying in a subdivision. Subdivision, you get all houses that look sort of the same. They all have sewer, they all have utilities, they've got water, they've got electrical, they're all the same, they've got paved roads, they've got street lights. All of those properties are much the same. So that's easy to appraise and evaluate. Whereas land, what if there's no water? What if the water is 5 miles away? What if the power is 2 miles away? Well, you say, well, I'll drill a well. Well, how deep a well do you have to drill? So you need to talk to a land broker. Now, write that down if you don't do anything. A land broker, that's a lot different than a residential real estate broker. So a land broker, when they shake hands, you're going to know you shook hands with a working guy, okay? And his pickup truck probably hasn't been washed in 6 months. But this guy is going to know about land. So you need people that know about land. All right, water is going to be important. Utilities is going to be important. Power is all of those things are going to be real important. So I would figure out my attributes first before I jumped in to start saying, oh, this is the one that's perfect for me. Because the one perfect for you is going to cost you a bundle if you have to try to buy it from someone that doesn't want to sell. Or if you're picking out a property that's next to commercial or next to a, let's exaggerate now, let's say it's next to Disney, where you're probably not going to be able to afford that. So you want to find land at really great prices. Well, that's why I buy at tax defaulted auctions, and that's why I want to be in the subset of the real estate business. Why? Because now I want to buy where someone has walked away from it. Well, that's an easy deal for me because the local government has confiscated the property. The treasurer's trying to get rid of it. They're not trying to get rid of it for a high price. All right, so every auction that I've been to, now keep in mind, I've only been doing it 30 years, so it's probably not every auction in the world, but you're getting the idea. At these property auctions, you're going to find 20 to 25% of all the auction properties are going to be land. Now, it might be land that's not useful for you, but that would be a good place to look and keep your prices way down. All right, so keep in mind, sewer is going to be important. Sanitation is something that you have to get permitted. You got to think about that. What about drainage? You got to think about drainage. The water starts coming down in a hurricane or something and floods what you're going to build. You have to think about all that. So there's a lot of concerns when you're buying land. So you don't want to just talk to a regular real estate broker. You need to talk to a land broker that knows about that. Now, if it's on a main road, does it have ingress and egress already built into the property? Can you get it in and out of it? All right, is that road a permanent road? In other words, a year-round road, or is it a dirt road? Dirt road is not a year-round road. All right, so want to do this cheaply? Here's a cheap way to do it. All right, your county or the county where you want to buy probably has a G.I.S. system. Now, let me do it again. G.I.S., Geographical Information System. Nothing more than a satellite that's going around the world, okay? And you can get on the system. It's usually free, and you can bring the satellite up and down. In other words, it zooms in and out, and you can then get a good look at the land. Now, if you're buying land because you want to build, you want to have your own farm of 40 acres, well, then you're going to have a survey. Is it 40 acres? You can't just guess how much it is. Now, you want a survey for more than one reason. You want a survey to make sure that what you buy is not encroaching or going onto someone else's land, and you also want to make sure the other land is not encroaching on the one you're buying. All right, you can't see that. You know, the lines you see on a map are on a piece of paper. There's no lines out there in reality, so you need to have a surveyor to buy the property. So I wouldn't buy a property without a survey. I wouldn't buy the property without having spent a lot of time on the G.I.S. mapping system, which is absolutely free. All right, so you're kind of getting the idea. Now, if you're using the G.I.S. system, you can see all the properties around it. So what if there was a chicken farm that was a mile away and the wind always blew from the chicken farm towards you? You might not want to buy that property. So you could look at what was surrounding, or maybe you want to have your own property that you build and you have 40 acres to put your corn and your crops and, you know, raise some cattle or whatever. You can do anything you want. Now, if you're going to buy property, you have to think about that land. Is it rich in soil? Can it be irrigated? Or is it dry land like I find out in West Texas? Or is it beautiful irrigation land that they have in East Texas? Well, in West Texas, you can get it for $200 an acre, and in East Texas, it's about $30,000 an acre. So there's a lot of difference in land, and a lot of people just look at land and think it's all the same. It's not the same. All right, so let's think about it. If you're going to do business and you want to get the best deals, I'm going to direct you towards the tax defaulted auctions. All right, every county, all 3,000 plus counties, will have auctions, tax defaulted auctions. About 25% of the properties will be residential land, or maybe 4 acres or 40 acres or something like that. All right, if you're just looking for property that you want to buy and the property isn't for sale, well, then the first place to start is the G.I.S. mapping system. Then the second place is start with a land broker. A land broker is going to know a lot about the property, and they might not be on the multiple listing service. So you want to make sure that you're talking to a land broker. All right, so the whole idea is if you want to learn things, you're going to have some guides. All right, now I'm not the best guide when it comes to finding things that people don't want to sell. Now I can find everything you want by going on the internet and finding it. However, people that don't want to sell, why would I want to buy from them? I mean, they're just going to want a high price. If I can't get a deal and create money by getting the deal, in this business that I'm in, I make my money when I buy, not when I sell. I make my money buying at a low price. So I want to buy 10, 20, 30 cents on the dollar, okay? And then I want to sell for 40, 50, or 60 cents on the dollar so that I have that margin. I want a margin so that I'm making money when I buy. I go to the bank when I sell. So you want to be careful about it. All right, now I'm going to run out of time. I do want to tell you, if you're going to buy property, you need to look at it. You need to get boots on the ground. You need to get surveys when it comes to land. If it's not for sale, get a land broker and let them help search for it, or start going to the tax defaulted auctions. You can do most of it online and see what is available, but you have to have priorities. What is the water? What view are you looking at? What's the result you want? What are you going to use it for? What kind of land do you want? Do you want land for grazing cattle, or you just want land you can look at? I don't know what you want. So my name is Ted Thomas. I'll see you on the next video.